Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a Prescott City Council voting meeting. It's April 11th. Thank you all for joining us here. Isn't it great to have a much larger city council chamber that can accommodate all of our residents? We've got even some spare seats, so anybody out in the hallway, tell them to come on in. So we'll start with introductions and announcements. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to welcome our city magistrate, Mitch Padilla, to the room. Thank you, Mitch, for being here.
Yes.
And we have some announcements. First, I have some great news about water. April is Water Awareness Month, and the City of Prescott has launched an all-new water conservation page, www.prescottwater.com. City staff worked with local web designer City Sardi Design to create the new website, which includes comments on indoor conservation, outdoor landscaping tips, Arizona drought status, education activities for teachers, parents, and kids, blog posts, calendar of events, plus useful links for education information. The website was made possible through a $10,000 grant awarded by Arizona Department of Water Resources through Groundwater User Advisory Committee, GWAC. Sorry, I thought it was funny.
Hello.
For Water Awareness Month, please watch the city's social media pages as well as PrescottWater.com for 30 tips for 30 days in the month of April. For more information, contact Public Works Department at 928-777-1130. And relatedly, Earth Day is Saturday, April 22nd. The City of Prescott is pleased to sponsor Earth Day once again. Come check out our booth on Cortez Street in front of the Courthouse Plaza. This year, the General Plan Committee will share a booth with the city. The Pedestrian, Bicycle, and Traffic Advisory Committee will have their own table next to that table as well. The event is from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Earth Day reminds us to think globally but act locally. Be there or be square. And last, as we continue to transition operations to the new City Hall, there will be some changes at the old City Hall, as the City of Prescott boards and commissions meetings will now take place at the new City Hall location, here at 201 North Montezuma Street. Also, access to the old City Hall South Cortez Street location will be limited to one entrance. Citizens doing business with the Community Development Department and Utility Building will be able to enter only from the south side parking lot entrance next to the Utility Billing drive-thru. As a reminder, Utility Billing and Community Development Service counters will remain at the South Cortez Street location. City clerk, including notary services, are now available only at the new North Montezuma Street location on the third floor. For more information about city departments and meetings, you can always go to www.prescott-az.gov. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll now have an invocation from Rabbi Julie Koslow, followed by a Pledge of Allegiance conducted by Councilman Tenney.
You're good. Nice to see you again. Mayor Good and the members of the City Council, it's an honor for me to be here and to have the privilege of framing this gathering for you from the eyes of a clergy member. Those of us who have dedicated our lifetimes to the highest good for all of God's children. Your work here at the grassroots level is especially important here in this hometown for all. All must matter. The inclination in this chaotic time to broadcast one's own perspective as if it were God's will is compelling indeed, yet it is not what you have been called to do. You are, as civil servants, an example of tolerance and respect for all. And your contributions must be accompanied by an insistence that we all live by those same guidelines of tolerance and respect as well. For you are not only members of the City Council, but you are also models of the highest good. This is the privilege of your station, as it is mine. My prayer for each of you this day is that you begin to debate and ponder the ways in which you may strengthen our beloved city of Prescott, in a way that your souls expand to see the needs beyond your vision and the possibilities beyond the here and now. May you each remember that the truest engine that runs this world is made of love and compassion and kindness. May you please bring those three elements of humanity into the very heart of your decisions. May you be greatly blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to move over next into the presentations and
Roll call.
right after roll call.
Mayor Good,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Montoya,
Still here.
Councilwoman Kentelme.
Here.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilmember Roosing.
Here.
Councilman Sishka.
Here.
And Councilman Tenney.
Yes, ma'am.
All are present.
All right, a couple more years, I'll get this right. Introduction and welcome to Judge Mitch Padilla.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, distinguished members of the council. I am Mitch Padilla, and I am your city magistrate. I absolutely want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve the community. I'm a resident of Prescott for the last 15 years and Arizona for 17 years. This is my hometown too, so I take a lot of pride in what I can do to deliver a good outcome for the city from the bench. So, as you also know, I am the elected Justice of the Peace for the Prescott Precinct here in Yavapai County. So it's a dual hat that I wear. I want to just take a moment and let you know a little bit about the court. Obviously, you know, we're on the first floor at the Prescott Courthouse. But there's a lot that goes on there besides just sitting on the bench. There's 20 employees. I want to take a minute here and recognize my court administrator, Denise Fosberg, who joined me today. We have 20 employees, approximately 14 are from the county and 6 are from the city. So it's a combined work effort that goes on all the time. We're very busy there, and I mean more than just simply the cases that I end up seeing from the bench. And that's typically what you would think. Well, you know, you're the city magistrate, you sit on the bench, what else do you do? Well, 20 employees. We brought in, just in the month of March, a little bit over $150,000 in fines and collections from the community and the greater community just outside of Prescott. It's an awful lot of money. And it isn't just bringing it in, but it's making sure that the books balance at the end of the month also. So a couple of things that are going on in the court that I want to make sure that you have an awareness on is, very first thing I wanted to do was see how do we improve customer service. And customer service is everybody that goes to the windows. Typically, the windows, and what I mean by that is the windows to either pay fines or rectify something that's going on with a case of theirs. Customer service is not only the interaction that we have with individuals from the community, but it's also making sure that their balances on any monies that are owed are accurate and that they're being collected. So, one of the things that we are doing, since it is a consolidated court, we have 2 different databases we work with. So if you are the clerical individual that is walking up to the window to meet someone at the window, you don't know if they're a county case or a city case. So depending on what they are, you have to then log out of one system and log into another. Next person you deal with happens to come from the other side of the house, so to speak, and they log out of that system and rejoin the old system they were in earlier. So we are just doing some minor little upgrades, but they should result in better customer satisfaction. We're bringing dual monitors to the stations up front so that you can keep both databases up at the same time. Implementing the use of scanning machines so that we can move towards a more electronic filing process, and also credit card readers just to take a payment. That's just the front at the windows. There's other things that are going on. One of the campaign issues that I ran on for Justice of the Peace was to bring a veterans court here to Prescott, and I am in the process of working that issue. The biggest roadblock that I have is simply carving out time in the schedule to accommodate such an endeavor. So I'm in the process of doing that, and with some luck, we actually may be able to kick this off by about the August-September timeframe, and that'll be the Veterans Court. The other thing I did want to just mention to you is technology as a general statement, extremely lacking in that courtroom. not through anybody's particular fault. Bottom line is, it is a county courtroom, and pulling those dollars out of the county to invest them in there isn't the easiest thing, but I have started that process. So there's things that will enhance hearings to make things a little more efficient and move cases along, and that is simply offering video appearances. And it's something that is going to take some money. As I said, I'm working that issue on the other side. But a lot of this has to do with customer service, moving cases, and becoming a little bit more efficient and effective. With that said, I'd like to just invite any of you who ever want to come over and get a personal walkthrough. I'd be happy to do that. Just reach out to my office, and I'd look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Any questions on anything?
Well, thank you, Judge. You and I have known each other for quite a few years, and we definitely look forward to your innovations in our city court. I'm particularly excited about being able to form a veterans court here in our city courtroom. I was very much involved in the veterans court creation that retired Judge Mackey put together quite a few years ago, and it's really shown that it's a valuable adjunct to the normal judicial process, and it's really worked out with reducing recidivism in the superior courts. So I'm very, very supportive of your efforts there. So I know you're a veteran yourself, and I'm just pleased on how you're going to be able to support our city court, and as I said before, the innovations that you want to implement. Obviously, collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines helps out your budget and our budget too. So thank you very much, Judge.
Absolutely. Yes. Anyone else?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you and good luck. We'll
Thank you.
we'll be seeing you probably over there in the courtroom.
Sounds great. Thank you now. Have a great day.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to ask all of the police officers to come up and stand behind me as I read this letter of commendation. You know, as a combat veteran, there are many times when you are not exactly sure how you're going to perform under the most extreme conditions. So whether you're a new police officer or a veteran officer, making sure that your training and ability to work together as an effective team is sometimes tested. So for those of you who weren't aware of what occurred here back in February, after reviewing the performance of this team and our police department leadership, I felt it was very important that I read this letter of commendation to these officers. On February 9th, 2023, Prescott Police was contacted by Las Vegas Metro Police Department and FBI Criminal Apprehension Team in reference to information leading them to believe that a fugitive with a warrant for attempted homicide was currently in the Prescott area. Specifically, we were provided with information that the suspect was wanted for a shooting incident that occurred in Clark County, Las Vegas, the day prior. With this information, department personnel were able to locate the suspect, who had a female subject with him that was in fear for her life. While trying to leave the area, the suspect damaged numerous police vehicles and put officers and citizens in danger. The suspect rammed the front of a police vehicle, causing significant damage to both vehicles. At that time, the female passenger was able to exit the vehicle and was quickly escorted away by SWAT officers. SWAT officers then apprehended the suspect as the suspect tried to flee out of his vehicle. Due to the actions of our Prescott Police, Prescott Fire, and Regional Communications Center staff, nobody was seriously injured, and a dangerous suspect was apprehended and prevented from causing additional damage or harm. The following police personnel were on scene during the apprehension and took actions during this incident to keep our community safe. Deputy Chief John Brambilla, Command; Detective John Hanna, Assistant Team Leader; Detective Jeremy Brazil, Assistant Team Leader; Officer Joe Harris; Officer Andrew Hoffman; Officer Troy Crawford; Officer Sean Bray; Officer Chad B.A., Officer Blake Shimmer; Officer Bradley Emerson; Officer Tyler Doe; Officer Andrew Loven; Officer Rogan Rudolph; and Patrol Officer Mike Files. Mike and I did our first ride along here together about, 6 years ago? Well, I'm still here, and so are you. Thanks. So as your mayor and on behalf of the Prescott Police City Council, the Prescott City Council, I commend you for your actions, your personal commitment, integrity, and ongoing dedication to the citizens of Prescott. You're recognized and worthy of commendation. So please give these great officers a hand.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the opportunity to highlight the work that the men and women of our police department do every day, and there's no doubt about it that without fail, they will stand in harm's way and do what needs to be done to keep this community safe. This incident was very demonstrative of the work that they do on a daily basis, and we really appreciate that you took the time to recognize them and their efforts. And yeah, bad guy 0, cops 1. Thank you.
Now we got to buy some new police vehicles. All right, next we have a couple of proclamations. So we're going to recognize Earth Week, and that proclamation will be presented by Councilmember Rusing.
Is there anyone here to represent Earth Week? If so, please come on up to be recognized. Okay. Earth Week 2023. Whereas the annual celebration of Earth Day and Earth Week in 2023 will be observed around the world, focusing on Water is Life as this year's theme. And whereas our community continues to confront environmental challenges that require us to recognize our role in the protection and restoration of the earth. And whereas Earth Day and Earth Week are annual reminders of the constant need for outdoor and environmental learning, stewardship, local engagement, and achievement through sustainable community action. And whereas residents are encouraged to use Earth Day and Earth Week to celebrate our place on planet Earth through participating in the many educational events during the week, connecting with the land and water through local environmental projects, exploring and observing the beauty of Prescott and its natural features, and by conserving water and energy use. Now, therefore, Phil Good, Mayor of the City of Prescott, Arizona, does hereby encourage all members of our community to learn about, share, and celebrate the protection and restoration of the earth and our local environment, and do declare April 22nd through the 28th, 2023 as Earth Week 2023.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ellen Basher, or also Ranger Ellen. I am one of our City of Prescott Park Rangers and also the Outdoor Learning Coordinator for Prescott Unified School District and the Prescott Recreation Department. And it is a joy to be here, and I'm sorry I'm not in my best council clothes, but I have a very good reason. I spent today with 15 volunteer young professional park rangers out there training and planning for 250 fifth graders to go on a journey throughout the history of Prescott and all of our amazing achievements, and down the creeks through the heart of their watershed, planning a stewardship project and celebrating this beautiful place we call home. And so, although I'm a little muddy, I'm really just honored to be here among these amazing colleagues here who've been planning and working so hard to celebrate our planet and to bring this special event to you all. So I hope I see you down there, and if you know any little ones, bring them along too. We'll have extra fun things for them to do. I'm going to pass this off because we have a special note here from Miss Granite Mountain.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Hallian Fernandez. I'm a local student and volunteer. I'm also a title holder in the Miss America organization. My community service initiative that I promote through the Miss Arizona organization is called LNT for You and Me. I teach adolescents really important skills like empathy, compassion, and boundary setting through Leave No Trace practices. If you don't know, LNT, or Leave No Trace, is a set of guidelines for conserving natural settings. When we teach children to care for nature, they grow up being stewards of the environment and for other human beings. When we teach care for nature and all of God's creatures, we teach empathy. You might be sitting here thinking, why is this relevant? What do human emotions have to do with the environment? Well, I'm an outdoor education leadership student with a background in critical psychology. This past February, I visited a school in Arizona that emphasizes outdoor education. While going on a hike with a second grade class, a little girl approached me. Her name's Abby, and she's 10 years old, and her arms were filled with garbage. Now you have to picture this precious little girl with her little backwards hat. She has dirt all over her, and she's carrying all this garbage, looking up at me with sadness in her eyes. She explained how upset this trash and debris made her, and continued to explain to me and some of her fellow classmates the impact that this would have on the environment within their community. The other children quickly understood and began to pitch in, and within 40 minutes, I had a full trash bag of garbage. At that moment, I saw how important it is to teach children to love nature, because when human beings feel an emotional connection to natural settings, they are more likely to protect them. My community service initiative, LNT for You and Me, was inspired by little kids with expansive, intentional, and inspiring minds centered around care for our environment. So yeah, that's why it's relevant. There are children in our state, here in Arizona, who have to walk past trash mounds outside of their elementary school in order to enter. If that's not enough for you, the relevance of Earth Day here in Prescott is prevalent in the record-breaking amount of people who turned out for Earth Day 2019, pushing the city of Prescott to proclaim Earth Week here in Prescott. Now listen, you don't have to be a social justice advocate to care about this. You just have to make minor changes in your everyday life to decrease your impact. And no, I'm not telling you to stop eating meat. I'm not telling you to trade your car in for a bike. The Leave No Trace organization is challenging people across the United States to pick up 30 pieces of trash in Spirit of Earth Month. Now, as an advocate for the Leave No Trace organization and as a community member, I'm challenging everybody here in this room today to pick up 30 pieces of trash in the Spirit of Earth Month. I'm also challenging everyone in the greater city of Prescott and greater Yavapai County to do this. As I said before, when we teach empathy, we teach care for nature. Set an example for an adolescent in your life. Pick up some trash and join me in caring for our planet this month and every month, because every day is Earth Day. Again, my name is Hallie Ann Fernandez. Thank you so much for being. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your efforts to make this a better world for the little ones in your life.
Thank you, Ellen. Can you get a little enthusiasm?
Just wait till you see me on Earth Day.
All right. Next up, we have a presentation of a proclamation for Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe. Councilwoman Cantelmi.
Is there anybody here representing for this? Come on up. Thank you. I actually saw this working firsthand. I went on a ride-along with my son, who's a firefighter. And it was a bad fire, and there were 3 children in the apartment complex. And they were given those bears, and that immediately stopped the trauma and the crying. So it's such a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's great. Saw it in real time. Anyway, so this is a proclamation for the Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe for April 2023. Whereas disasters can strike at any moment, leaving families and individuals with little to no comfort in the aftermath. And whereas Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing comfort to disaster victims, particularly children, through the distribution of handmade teddy bears and encouraging cards. And whereas these teddy bears provide a source of comfort and support to children in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, helping to ease their fears and bring a sense of security and hope during a difficult time. And whereas Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe's executive director, Mimi Heimel, is that how you say that? Has demonstrated exceptional leadership and dedication in advancing the organization's mission and expanding its impact to help children in Prescott by working with 2 local fire departments. And whereas Mimi founded Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe after losing her own teddy bear in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, inspiring her to help other children like her find comfort in after a disaster. Now, therefore, Phil Good, Mayor of the City of Prescott, does hereby proclaim our support and recognition for the invaluable work of Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe and its Executive Director, Mimi. We recommend the organization's volunteers for their selfless service and the impact they have on lives of those they serve. We also recognize the tireless efforts of Mimi in leading the organization and expanding its reach, bringing comfort and hope to children affected by disasters and other crises, and carrying on the legacy of her own teddy bear lost in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. We call upon all citizens to support the mission of Comfort Bears in a Catastrophe and to recognize the importance of their work in making our community a better place for all. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you. This is for you. You probably want to get a picture. Here, let's open this up. You can get it open. It's stuck. There we go. There we are.
Nice.
Mimi, would you like to say a few words regarding your organization and efforts?
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, because I feel like often we donate to fire departments and different organizations, and we get some photos sometimes of like firefighters with them, but we don't always get to hear those stories of how it directly impacts the children. So that was really nice to hear. But kind of as she mentioned, I founded this nonprofit myself. I was a Hurricane Katrina survivor, and the Red Cross stepped in. They helped my family. We lost absolutely everything, but what we didn't have was comfort comfort items, because essential items are needed and they're very much thought of, but for a child during a disaster, nobody really thinks of the comfort, and it can be a traumatic experience. So we were able to help out in Prescott, and if you guys know anyone who'd like to volunteer or contribute, you can find us at www.comfortbearsincatastrophe.org. Yeah, thank you.
Now we'll move on to the open call to the public.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Prescott welcomes public engagement, and residents may comment and address the council regarding matters that are not included on the posted agenda during the call to the public. If you wish to speak, please complete a green speaker card and submit it to me prior to the meeting being convened. As a reminder, speakers are limited to 4 minutes, and the call to the public will be limited to 40 minutes in total. Mayor, I do have one comment card today from Stephen Sidlowski.
Good afternoon, beloved Mayor Phil Good, wonderful city council members, city attorney, city clerk, city lawyer, and citizens. It is now my wonderful 5th time speaking before your city council, and I just want to update you and let everybody know that there seems to be some positive progress with the new possibility of personhood language being inserted into the future city charter. I have received an email confirming that the Charter Review Commissioner Chair is possibly interested in putting it on the agenda come August or September. That's encouraging words from myself. Finding a city under charter review all over the country is like finding a needle in the haystack. I would like to, however, appeal for the City Council and anybody who can assist to possibly speed up that opportunity, because my schedule is very demanding, and I'm hoping that I could give an initial brief to the Prescott City Charter Review Commission, possibly even before Mother's Day. That is my present appeal to all of you. I have sent additional information. I'm not sure if you received the Personhood Strategic Action Plan yet, and I will be emailing that to the city clerk. We've already talked about that before this non-public agenda speaking. I don't know how much time I have left. I don't see a clock.
Got about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, thank you. So for the record, I just want to let you know the initial preamble that's being handed out to city clergy, pastors, community leaders. The preamble would be inserted in Article 1, and now all the citizens will hear the personhood language for the first time. It will go as such. Through this charter with divine guidance, for equality to all, we inhabitants of Prescott express our beliefs and convey our trusts so that this charter's concepts shall long endure in perpetuity with regard to creation, personhood, birth, and without regard to age, race, color, sex, marital status, disability, handicap, religion, ancestry, or national origin. So for the record, at least the charter language, the personhood language, is now read to everybody here. I think I'd like to close with a song, because I used to do gardening as a young boy, so I love nature, taking care of Mother Nature, and I love creation. So I'm just going to close with a song, and I think it will resonate in everybody's heart. The joy of the Spirit of God, His love for His creation, ta-ta. The joy of the Spirit of God, His love for His creation, ta-ta. There's a longer version. I'll just sing the short version. God bless you with the wisdom. I hope you can accelerate the agendaizing of the personhood language even before Mother's Day. that is my present appeal to all of you, and I think the song adds to Easter Resurrection Week with peace and joy. God bless you all. Thank you.
That's all, Mayor.
All right, we'll next move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I have an item to pull from the agenda.
Does anyone else have an item to pull from consent?
Is that item E?
Item E, what I'm trying to pull.
All right, let me see if I can get the agenda items here.
Did you say D or
E as in echo.
E? I don't see
Okay.
it. I don't see any.
Mayor Pro Tem wants to pull item E, so I'll entertain a motion on the remaining items.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda, items A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have an emotion. We have emotions? No, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Where's my voting?
Mayor, is yours not popping up?
Nope.
Okay. If you want to just verbally tell me your vote, and I can make the announcement.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Mayor Pro Tem, item 9E.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is the approval of the city contract with Katie Gregory for the city manager employment contract. And I know that it was a long process that led us through selecting finalists for this position and then the determination of making the offer. And I know that Katie's here, and I just wanted to invite her up and see if she might have a few words to share with the community that she's about to serve.
That's fine.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, council members. I'm very excited for this opportunity. I have spent a little bit of time sort of introspecting on this choice and this opportunity. I've brought my husband and my youngest, one of my three, with me today to be part of this because we're excited to be part of the city of Prescott. And it's my honor to be able to work with this council and this staff and this community in furthering the interests of this council and the community as city manager. So I'm very thrilled to be doing that. I'm excited to get started. I might pop into another meeting here between now and then, but if I'm always open and interested in chatting about anything that's going on. So very glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations.
Very excited to have you as our new city manager, Katie. We look forward to it. I think you're scheduled to begin on May 8th. But if you want to start earlier, we'd be happy to do that. So your broad experience working in municipal government, your leadership, your experience in budgeting and developing, working with developers, contract negotiations, all those things are going to be so applicable and so valuable to our city as we continue to deal with a lot of challenges in those areas. So we couldn't be more excited and really looking forward to having you join our city and become the city manager and the leader of our staff. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Please proceed there, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Mayor, I move that we approve consent item 9E.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Mayor, Jennifer's going to try to help you with your screen, so we'll get everybody's vote here, but she's going to get you logged out and probably logged back in. So if you'd like to give me a verbal on this one as well, that would be great.
I vote yes.
Thank you very much. Motion passes 7-0.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to item 10, consent ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. Adoption of ordinance number 2023-1826, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, authorizing the purchase of real property and easements from the Church of the Nazarene, the Dennis J. Farno Revocable Trust, Adam and Amber Flegger, Monberg Real Estate Holdings LLC, and the Allen Properties LLC for the Pulliam Douglas Reconstruction Project, and authorizing the mayor and staff to execute any and all documents to effectuate said purchases and easements.
Mayor, if I may.
Mayor Pro Tem.
On advice of the city attorney, I've been told that this does rise to a level of conflict of interest for me since I am part owner of Monberg Real Estate Holdings. So I'm going to excuse myself to step outside of the hearing for this.
Understood. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm going to text people.
Don't forget to call me back.
Getcha. All right. Do we have a presentation from staff, or is there any discussion on this item while the mayor's screen continues to get worked on?
Mayor, I think this is relatively straightforward and it's a consent ordinance. May I make a motion?
Certainly.
Okay. Then I recommend that we move to adopt ordinance number 2023-1826.
Second.
A motion is second. Please vote.
Mayor?
I vote yes.
Thank you very much. Passes 6-0.
All right, we'll move on to item 11A, liquor license.
And we'll let Tyler get Mayor Pro Tem while I read the title. Public hearing and consideration for a new Series 6 bar liquor license application from Andrea Dahlman-Lekowitz, applicant for the Edison Market, location 447 South Montezuma Street.
Very contentious.
600 bucks.
Is the applicant present? Come on up, Nick.
See here. Good afternoon, Mayor Good, members of the City Council, and distinguished guests. I stand before you here today to speak and answer any questions you may have about the Edison Market concept. The Edison will be located at the old Quick Stop on LaRue and Montezuma Street. This concept will be a unique market, coffee shop, and eatery. We are thrilled to provide a new place for our local community to engage and enjoy. Our market will offer traditional convenience store items, as well as locally sourced products, artisanal breads, pastries, gift items, and more. Our coffee shop will serve coffee and blended drinks. The eatery will provide delicious comfort food that includes sandwiches, salads, desserts, and other gastropub foods. Phase 2 of this project will include remodeling the backyard to an open garden-type tiki restaurant concept. Medina Hospitality's commitment to invest in our local community and expand the food and beverage scene in Prescott. The Edison will be a perfect example of our commitment to this vision. We will be putting a great deal of effort and resources into creating a space that is inviting, comfortable, and provides a unique dining and shopping experience. We are confident that the Edison will become a beloved addition to our community. We believe that this development will contribute to the growth and prosperity of Prescott. In conclusion, we would like to thank the City Council for their support and look forward to creating this great space for our community. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Nick. I know you've been making a lot of investments in our city, and we certainly appreciate it. I think that section of White Spar, as it comes up to South Montezuma, really is almost a gateway to the city from people traveling from the southern parts of the state or the community, and being able to provide some upgrade experience is going to be very valuable. So I certainly appreciate your efforts. Do we have any other comments or concerns, Councilwoman can tell me?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Medina.
Hello.
As a preservationist myself, and I've spent a lot of time and money in many of the projects I've done beautifying the downtown area, South Montezuma has been a challenge. And I've got to thank you very much for going in and putting your hard-earned money and dollars into an area that is slowly renovating, and it's coming around, and I think you're a big part of that. So thank you again for your efforts.
Thank you.
Do you have any public comment?
No public comment, Mayor.
I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Mayor, I
Mayor?
move, go ahead, please.
Mayor, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second. Please vote.
Yeah, I guess so.
I vote yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to approve recommendation for liquor license number 231625 for a new Series 06 bar liquor license application for the Edison Market, location 447 South Montezuma Street.
Second. Motion is second. Please vote. I vote yes.
I vote yes too.
That should
there
pop
it
up in
is.
just a second. Sorry about that.
All right, we'll move to item 11,
Passes 7-0.
11B.
Public hearing and consideration for a new Series 10 beer and wine store liquor license application from Andrea Dahlman-Likowitz, applicant for the Edison Market, location 447 South Montezuma Street.
You don't have to come up again, Nick.
And Mayor, we don't have any public comment on this one either.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second. Please vote. I vote yes.
Passes 7-0.
Mayor, I move to approve the recommendation for liquor license number 229973 for a new Series 10 beer and wine store liquor license application for the Edison Market, location 447 South Montezuma Street.
Second.
Motion is second. Please vote. I vote yes.
Passes 7-0.
Very good. Thank you again, Nick. Thank you for investing in our community, and good luck with your new efforts. Okay, we'll now move to the regular agenda.
Legislative update.
Legislative update. You're right.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Here to give you another exciting legislative update. I tell you, I think it's day 93 of the session. There's only supposed to be 100 days of the session, but it looks like we're going to blow past that pretty quickly, as we have in recent years. And one of the biggest things that they're working on right now is the budget. We haven't had any substantial information come out on what that budget might look like. But I'll tell you that there's been some movement in bills that will go through contingent on the budget. So as usual, we'll start with our Glassford Dells Regional Park bill. No news is good news. It's, again, waiting on that budget process to play out, but it is a part of that. And our LD1 legislators are holding tight that that's their top priority for us, which is great. That's very helpful. The next bill, corporate income tax, House Bill 2003. Again, this would reduce the corporate income tax rate over 3 years. It would be a hit of almost $1 million to us if it makes it through. It passed out of the Senate appropriations, so it's waiting to be heard by the Senate as a whole. Again, we don't want those types of reductions in revenues, so we're keeping an eye on this and communicating with the legislators as needed. And the bill there on the bottom, Senate Bill 1131, you'll notice it looks very familiar. This is a strike everything bill that brings back the language that would eliminate residential rental tax. The governor vetoed one previously the reason that this has come back is, I believe, a part of budget negotiations. So there's some give and take, some push and pull, and because of that, it's been brought back. But again, the league's on it. Barry Aaron's, the city, we obviously don't want to see this go through, as that would be, I believe, another couple million a year for our budget if that were to go through. The next three bills have to do with housing. I talked a couple weeks ago about this House Bill 2536. This is very similar to Senate Bill 1117, which really reduces residential zoning and cities' abilities to regulate zoning and development within the city. So this is essentially that same bill with a little bit of different language, but the next two as well take elements of 1117 that eliminates our ability to regulate zoning, regulate development, regulate design, and those elements that we oversee as a city. And because of that, we are very much in opposition, and the League of Cities is very much opposed to this as well. So they're working hard on eliminating these. What I've heard is that there's not a whole lot of support still for these bills. 1117 failed, and it's expected that 2536 would fail, and the other bills as well. So we're keeping an eye on it, but no huge need to worry at this point. And then the last three that I'll touch on, we heard this afternoon a great update on our Charter Review Committee and their progress. SCR 1023 would basically bring to the voters of Arizona in the next election the question of whether to amend the state constitution to repeal charter cities in Arizona. An amendment was offered in committee that would only apply to cities of 500,000 or more in population. So fortunately, we wouldn't be in that bowl. But the problem is that could be amended in future years, and voters might say, we don't like charter cities at all. So losing any ground on charter cities is a non-starter for us, and we're pushing against that one very hard. The next two we've talked about quite a bit. They have to do with municipalities having partisan elections, which we don't currently have, as you know, and that's Senate Bill 1011. That's awaiting to be heard in the House. And then the last bill on the list for this week is the political signs and the tourism zones that we've established. Keeps our right-of-ways very clean, helps us regulate that, and it's a benefit to us. This bill would change that and make it a lot harder for us to regulate that locally. So it's a loss of that local control. That one's waiting to be heard in the House as well. That's the update I have, unless you have any questions for me, Mayor, Council.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Tyler, on SCR 1023, and I know I probably have asked this again, so I apologize if I'm repeating this, but it's a continuing resolution. Does that mean that the governor signs off on it, or she doesn't, or how does that work?
That is a good question. Off the top of my head, I don't know if it goes straight to the voters after being approved by both legislative bodies, or if it has to get signed by the governor, but I'll figure that out.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Rusing.
Tyler, are there any bills relating to something really important for our state, like water policy, the border?
There are a lot of water policy bills, and I'll tell you that our staff in Public Works is following those very closely. Same with NAMWA and other organizations that we're affiliated with. There's always a lot of water bills, and we can certainly give you a more detailed list in the next update. I know the Water Issues Subcommittee, I believe, talked about some of those, but the state is always dealing with water and looking at those. But we can get you more information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know a number of those bills have been put into Gail Griffin's Natural Resources Committee, never to be seen from again. Although there has been some efforts to channel those through the Senate and even use some striker techniques to try to get some of these bills advanced. So, I think we still have to wait to see if there's any ability to have some of those water management bills advanced.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions? I can't see your request to speak on my screen. Councilmember Rusing.
Oh, I'm just astounded at the multiple attempts to override our sovereignty and to manage our own community locally by the great state of Phoenix. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I ask Tyler
Yeah,
a question also?
Councilwoman Can't tell me.
Yes. Tyler, wasn't the rental tax bill, the league is strongly against that, and we would lose a lot of money if that were to pass. But wasn't that part of Katie Hobbs' platform when she ran to basically try to reduce the tax, take it away completely for the renters?
I don't believe it was part of her platform as she ran. It's mostly come from the Republican Party this session, and it actually made it to her desk previously, and she vetoed it. But they have resurrected it, so to speak, in order to use it as a tool, I believe, for the budget. That's kind of what I'm hearing and kind of my guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So we'll move on to item 12B.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of city contract number 2023-168 with Baker Tilly US LLP for the independent financial statement audit and other required financial reports for fiscal years 2023, 2024, and 2025.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Lars Johnson, Deputy Finance Director. I have a very brief presentation on this item, and then I'll be available for any questions. The city is required to have an independent audit of the city's operations and financial information every year by state law. And also the city charter requires a change of our audit firm every 3 years. So this is the next rotation of our audit firm. And we're asking quite a bit from our auditors. They handle 5 main areas for us. One is they follow generally accepted audit standards and provide auditor opinions on our annual comprehensive financial statement, and then also a report on our internal controls. They also handle the opinion on the expenditure limitation report that we send over to the State Auditor General. They also provide an opinion on our schedule of federal awards, our CFA, and that tells the federal agencies whether the city is eligible to receive grants in the future if we have a clean opinion on that. They also do the development fee report every 2 years and provide an opinion to make sure that the city follows the restrictions in using our highway user revenue funds.
Nice.
So the Finance Department published through the city clerk's office a request for proposals January 26th. The bid opening was on March 9th. The proposals were received. There was 4 total. They were received and ranked, and we're providing a recommendation based on that work that the award of contract is to Baker Tilly US LLP. The city staff has worked with this audit team in the past, so they're familiar. They recently were combined, I guess, with another national firm, Baker Tilly. They previously were Henry and Horn. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
So Lars, we rotate auditors every 3 years, or we're required to have a new auditor.
Correct.
So do we have a standard set of rotation auditors that are familiar with our budget and our different requirements that this city has?
We issue a new RFP, request for proposals, every time it's time to renew. Mm-hmm. And we provide that notification to all eligible firms in the state. So there seems to be a narrowing pool of these firms that do this type of work because it's so specialized. Mm-hmm. But we do reach out to all of them, and then they choose whether or not to respond to that request.
So when was the last time we used, what is this, Baker Tilly?
This, like I said, this particular firm is new in that it was it acquired or was combined with Henry and Horn. So Henry and Horn was the previous rotation. We used them, so it would have been 3 years ago would have been the last audit they did.
So in essence, we're using the same firm again in the 3-year cycle?
There's been 3 year in between.
Oh, okay.
So the previous audit firm was Hinton Burdick,
That's right.
and they just completed the last audit for fiscal year 22.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Sorry, Mayor, just real quickly, how many, you mentioned, Lars, that there's a narrowing group of firms that are doing this. How many bids do we receive on this?
We received 4 total.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. All right, any other comments or concerns? Any public comment?
No, Mayor.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve city contract number 2023-168.
Second.
Motion is second, please vote. Ah, look at that. So excited.
There we go. Passes 7-0.
All right, we'll move on to item 12C.
Approval of city contract number 2023-188, an art donation for a mural in the Granite Creek corridor.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Joe Baines, Recreation Services Director. Welcome to the day of the mural. So I'll just give you a little background and then I'll turn it over to Barbara Nelson to go through the PowerPoint. So the Granite Creek Trail Mural Project is a 501c3 nonprofit. And as Sarah said, they would like to donate a mural back to the city of Prescott. Mr. Dana Cohen would be the artist for it. He teaches both at Yavapai and Prescott College and has been involved in creating murals around the city, such as at the library and the Whiskey Row Alley mural. The concrete wall that's proposed as the structure for the mural is not on city property. However, the property owner has given permission to the group for the project, and if approved, the city would, by separate agreement, accept the reassignment of the easement granted to the group upon completion of the project. So that would happen when the project is complete. On February 2nd, the group presented to the Art and Public Places Committee, who recommended forwarding this to council in a unanimous vote. The artist will be using an anti-graffiti sealant that was recommended by the Recreation Services Department. And with that, I'd like to introduce Barbara Nelson to go through some of the more details of the project.
Mayor Pro Tem,
You can pull that
council
down.
members. I have to bring this down. Is this the PowerPoint that you're going to show? This is not the one that I brought you this morning.
Oh.
But that's okay. Let me introduce myself. I'm Barbara Nelson. Interim city manager, knows that we've been working on this project since last May. We had a little bit of a kerfluffle when we found out who owned the property, and Chase Bank has been very reasonable, and of course it's a huge corporation. It took time to get through there. So the Granite Creek Trail Mural Project is going to create the longest single continuous mural in the state of Arizona, and it's going to create it on the retaining wall facing the creek between Willis and Gurley Streets behind Chase Bank, which is one of the property owners. Rox Media is the other property owner. This mural will be painted by, and I'd like to introduce Dana Cohn. Just stand up so everybody sees you. Dana is a local man. He was raised in Prescott, and he has exhibited internationally and nationally. He is an art instructor, as Joe Baines mentioned. He has completed more than 7 murals in this area alone, and that includes the Prescott Initials mural behind St. Michael's alley, in the alley, and the Prescott Library mural. And so that mural took him, I think he said it took him about a year, and this mural will take him a little bit less than that, even though it's longer. So why are we going to do it? We're going to do it because this is a bare concrete wall that really does nothing to enhance the investment that the city has made in the Granite Creek corridor. And I know that they've worked really hard to make it look nice, and this wall does nothing for that. So our vision is, where there's a massive concrete wall, we're going to create an outdoor art project that fools the eye. The artist term for that is trompe-l'oeil. It's a French word, and it means exactly that, fools the eye. And what's going to happen is the main panel, there are over 20 panels, the main panel will make it look like the creek just continues right into the wall. And one of the things that we were going to do is put in wild, this is going to be a completely natural woodland mural. It will have over 15 habitats, 150 species of birds and mammals and reptiles and amphibians, and we're not really considering insects, but we may consider butterflies. So, beyond beautification, this is going to enhance the city's investment. It's going to create a tranquil retreat in the heart of the city. It's going to add to the impressive downtown that we already have. It's going to provide an educational resource that will integrate art and the environment. And it's going to spark, I believe, an outdoor art corridor along all of the trails through the town. So how do we know that we can fund this mural? I think that's important to the council. Thanks to all our donors, sponsors, contributors, and supporters, we have already raised over $21,000 toward our now $45,000 budget. And one of the questions I think was important are what materials are going to be used. These are some of the panels. There are actually now almost 20 panels. And these panels are created by Dana Cohn and will be in the mural. He's going to make these seamlessly and harmoniously blend so that it's all one mural, all 410 feet of it. So he's going to be using brands like Sealcrete, which is a sealer primer that he has used in the past, and he knows it is a good foundation. Dunn Edwards is, I think they are donating the base coat, which is going to be in a sky blue that he can paint over these habitats. Nova Color is the paint that he's used before on the murals, so he knows it works really well. And as Mr. Baines pointed out, there's going to be an anti-graffiti coating on. And I think that's important because that is going to create the ease of maintenance that the city is probably going to be concerned about. That top coating is guaranteed to last 30 years. So I feel a little badly because this is the list of people that I wanted to thank. There are probably 100 people on this list that unfortunately didn't make it on that list because the PowerPoint I wanted to present was going to be an update, the budget and the people that have been involved. So thank you for your time. Your upvote will create a great plum for this city, I believe.
Councilmember
Any questions?
Oh, thank you, Barbara. I would just like to say I've been very proud to be the City Council liaison to the Art and Public Places Committee, and I've met with Barbara, and I've heard her on the radio, and I've been very impressed with her very professional outreach and her organization, and she's been doing a wonderful job to rally the community behind this project as far as donations. And I just wanted to report that she did not have to twist my arm, but I did spend a whole month's paycheck to purchase the Gamble quail.
Yes, you saw that, Gamble's quail, and I knew on my new presentation I had that it was already sponsored.
Yeah.
So one of the nice things that we're going to give the community the opportunity to determine which species will for certain be in the mural by sponsoring them, and they will get exclusive rights, I guess, to that species.
And then I'd like to just add one more thing. I'm very excited. You had mentioned a possibility of a trail walk for murals because, believe it or not, we have many other murals in this community.
We do.
And you're planning on having a self-guided trail walk so
Yeah.
people can enjoy the other murals.
That's going to be very exciting. We expect to have that done in October when we have the dedication reception when the mural is complete.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is a great project, and it's a nice little capstone to the revitalization that interim city manager has kind of spearheaded around the Granite Creek corridor. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's great. I did have one just quick question. Can either you or Joe, perhaps, how does the anti-graffiti coding work? So I guess I'm imagining, because I've seen some graffiti in our community before where someone scrawls it up, like I assume with spray paint. Like how does it work? Come on up.
This is our
Larry.
logistics director and my husband of 46 years.
All right, Larry, lay it down for me.
So there's two types of graffiti coating, and actually there's several brands, but so one type is the one you're talking about. So it's like a sacrificial coating that you wear a part of it off every time you clean it, and so after a couple cleanings, then you're back down to the artwork. This one, Sherman-Williams product, which is top of the line, they say you can hose it, pressure wash it, and just comes right off. It's pretty expensive. It's a lot more expensive than the other kind, but
I imagine the cost is worth it, though. If we're going to put this much investment and intention into this, I think it would sure be a shame in my mind if someone ruined some really lovely artwork.
we think that if we were doing this anywhere else and we didn't have Dana's really working with us on this would probably be $80,000-$90,000 mural when it's done. We think we can do it for half that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's important to protect it.
Yeah, no,
That was our top. Yeah.
Just curious about how the logistics work. I appreciate your explanation.
Sure. Councilman Shishka.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on the radio the other day.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. I hope I was.
And we shoved Larry into the corner there, and then Rob Strain was there. Rob, it's good to have you here. Could you give us an idea of how we can sponsor the mural?
Sure. So our website is at www.trailmurals.org. And on that website, there are lists of species. The birds are separated into different categories, the mammals, the reptiles, and amphibians. And you just click on one of those menu items and purchase it just like you'd purchase anything else online with a donation. And some people don't like to use credit cards, and so we accept checks. So the person writes us a check, lets us know which species, and Rob takes care of making sure that goes out of inventory because that's the person's exclusive sponsorship.
So what is the range of sponsorships?
So we have 19, and this is the only species that we have more than one available. We have 19 mourning doves that are in tribute to the 19 hotshots. They are individually sponsorable for $125. The range after that is $150 to $700 for the sponsorship. And maybe Rob would like to come up and.
Yeah, come on up, Rob.
Thank you. She pretty much covered everything except there are major sponsorships, and we are looking for major sponsors. So the city right now could just vote to write us a check for $25,000 or $30,000, and we would be delighted. And then we just lower the price maybe on all the other species. That would be great since it's going to help the species. Or corporations, smaller companies, local optometrists could decide to sponsor a habitat. And then, so that those range from $1,000 for the habitats that are in between to $2,500 for a habitat sponsorship.
Does that include local feed companies?
Never.
I don't know any of those, you know. But although I think there are a couple of them sitting up in front of me. We would also entertain a major sponsor that wants their name on a plaque. We intend to put a plaque at one end of the wall. We also intend to create, with finances allowing it, intend to create an app so that people can go along the wall and discover the birds and animals. You heard Ellen before. I'm getting all excited because Ellen from the Prescott Parks takes fifth graders through there, so every fifth grader can go down that wall, learn about half of the birds and animals, and there's going to be no trash painted on the wall. So you know, this is just a great learning experience for kids and adults. I don't know if I answered everything, but
You did. Thanks a lot, Rob. Appreciate it.
I just had one thought that I wanted to add to what Larry was talking about. This anti-graffiti coating is supposed to be able to be power washed. Anything that's over it is supposed to be able to be power washed off, so that without doing any damage at all to the artwork itself. And so this artwork will be in Prescott for many, many years, decades even. Any other questions?
Do we have any public comment?
We do, Mayor Parker Anderson.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, councilmen, city officials, thank you. I'm Parker Anderson. I'm with the Prescott Area Arts and Humanities Council, and yes, we're still around. And we're on record. We think this is a terrific project, and I know it is Mural Day here at City Hall today because there are other great mural artists and projects here as well. But the Granite Creek Trail, the city has done a terrific job in upkeeping it, and I know there's intense work going on right now. But that retaining wall where the mural is proposed is not very sightly, and this mural will rectify that. And we are pleased to offer our support to Barbara and the mural artists. And heck, the other mural artists who are here for other projects, we'd like to hear from you. Give us a call. So they've crossed their I's, they've crossed their T's and dotted their I's, with I especially like the anti-graffiti sealant. So the Prescott Area Arts and Humanities Council supports this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Parker.
That's all, Mayor.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve city contract number 2023-188.
Second.
The motion is second. Please vote. Look at that.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the next mural item, 12D.
Approval of city contract number 2023-189, an art donation for a mural at Granite Creek Park.
Thank you, Sarah. So another mural project along Granite Creek, in Granite Creek Park, or closer to Granite Creek Park underneath the bridge. Well, not as ambitious as the one we just looked at. It will be equally as appealing, I think, to people that use the park. So the Friends of Granite Creek Park, a group of citizens that have been engaged in improving the quality of the park, are seeking approval of a donation to the city of Prescott for a mural to be created under the LaGuardia Bridge. The group will commission a local artist, Joel S. Griffin, to oversee the creation of the mural. Mr. Griffin has over 50 years' experience, including set designs for movies and television. This mural will be 80 feet long and about 6 feet tall. The artist envisions transforming the underpass into an attractive, nature-themed work depicting native flora and fauna. The mural will be educational, light, and bright, as well as ecologically correct. So on July 15th, 2021, we had a little break in here. Part of it was COVID. The group did present to the Art in Public Places, who recommended forwarding this to council in a unanimous vote. This artist also will be using the anti-graffiti sealant that was recommended by our department. If approved, the Recreation Services Department has agreed to power wash and apply the base coat for this project. And with that, Laurel Freeman, the head of that Friends group, is here for any questions. And I'm here if you have any questions of me.
Good afternoon, and got to congratulate you on the new digs here. This is really nice. I hadn't been in here before, so this is great. I'm Laurel Freeman. I've lived here almost 25 years, and my first volunteer work here was just across the street where the hotel is now, putting in some trails and the first little bridge that's been improved through the years. And we lived up in the Prescott Heights, but moved down pretty close, full disclosure, pretty close to where we're wanting to put this mural in, so that I could walk to work over here at the Guidance Clinic up on Cortez and LaRue. So I've enjoyed this trail a long time. I've worked with the Prescott Greenways, and am really excited that looks like the weather hopefully will cooperate this time. Between weather and COVID, we've had some slowdowns, but we're ready to go. So any questions I could answer for you all?
Councilmember Rusing.
Thank you, Laurel. You've been planning this for at least two or
Almost
3
2
years.
yeah,
because
almost
I
2 years.
remember hearing about this.
Right.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to see it coming to fruition. I think it will be a wonderful project.
Yeah, one thing, we didn't have slides, but if any of you have gone under that underpass, it's kind of creepy. And we're going to have the ceiling painted sky blue with some little wispy clouds, and then you can see, hawks from below like you would if they were up there. And it'll just be transformative, I think, for going into Granite Creek Park. And I'm so glad we coincided with the Earth Day events, because truly this, and I really appreciate Joe too, that he's really seeing these improvements as being not only recreation, but education, and helping us become aware of what we have here, because it's extraordinary. And that park is extraordinary. And I think this is just going to work along with the Friends of the Library that's put in the little storybook trail. And ever since COVID, there's been so much going on and so much good energy, and even before then. But I think it's just going to really add to the enjoyment and understanding of our community. So thank you for considering.
Okay. Thank you, Laurel.
Any other questions?
All right, do we have any Councilman Shishka?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to ask the presenter about the pillars and about the cottonwood tree trunks.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little more about those?
Well, for those of you that can picture it, so you'll be walking along the trail, and there it'll be grasses and some of the bushes and some of the little critters, some little skunks, and probably, just so people know, javelina, those little baby javelina are awfully cute. And then then there's the sand, kind of, and then there's 6 big pillars that are holding up the bridge. And Joel, our artist, envisions, he's got some kind of sponge technique where you make those look like cottonwood trunks. I guess they're about this big. Wow. And then it goes up to a cross piece where branches will be branching out and into the sky part, and then we'll be able to put a lot of birds and insects. We're going to get insects in there because I think insects are very important in this world. Definitely the butterflies. They're the prettiest insects, but yeah, so that I think that's going to be kind of striking. And
That's going to be a lot of fun.
yeah,
Thank you.
Maybe cicadas.
Oh, yeah. There should definitely be a few cicadas done. They love cottonwood trees. Any other?
Thank you.
You betcha. Any other questions?
No public comment, Mayor.
No public comment? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve city contract number 2023-189.
Second.
Motion is second. Please vote.
No getting in between Kathy and her seconds.
Look at that. Somebody finally figured it
Cooking
out.
on gas.
All right, we'll move to item 12.
Passes 7-0.
Move to item 12E.
Approval of city contract number 2023-187, an art donation for a mural at 117 West Goodman Street, Chamber of Commerce Building, commemorating Granite Mountain Hot Shots.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. John Heine, Community Outreach Manager for the city. Also, just for your information, I'm really presenting in two roles. I also serve on the board for the Granite Mountain Interagency Hotshot Crew Learning and Tribute Center. And this is a project that was actually brought to the center originally, and then we wanted to bring it to the city as well. So I'll just give you a little bit of background about this and how we got to this point. In late 2022, staff was contacted by Phoenix-based artist Katja Von Kral. She offered to create a large public mural commemorating the 10th anniversary of the Granite Mountain Hotshot Crew and the tragedy that occurred where 19 members lost their lives battling the Yarnell Hill Fire on June 30th of 2013. After reviewing possible locations, the Prescott Chamber of Commerce was asked if they would host the mural on their west wall facing Montezuma Street. There's actually a picture of that wall up here on this PowerPoint that was developed by staff. The artist worked with Hotshot family members, including John Marsh and Karen Norris, who are also affiliated with the Hotshot Center. Following the Chamber Board approval, the artist began to design the mural. It was decided that the mural would be placed on special panels so that they could be removed if necessary in the future. That's an open lot next door, and the possibility that it may be developed, we did not want to lose that mural. She is working with local contractor Morgan Sign, who also created the panels for the Whiskey Road mural, which we saw previously. So it would be the same panel application. This item did go to the Historic Preservation Commission as to the materials and installation and was approved. And then it did go to the Art and Public Places Committee just last Thursday on April 6th and was also approved to come before your board. This was all done sort of in a tight time frame. Really the main goal is to have this completed and presented by the 10th anniversary, which again is June 30th, a very tight time frame. And Katie has agreed to take on that challenge. Of course, all the paperwork, the letter of intent to donate, and the contract itself is before you for approval. And the other thing that you should note is that Katie is an artist, Phoenix-based artist, but she works with WR Network. It's a television network. And the television show that she works with is called The Reveal. And so this will actually be part of that. And because of that, and because of the underwriting from the network, this is $75,000 value for her work and time. Just some other notes about the mural. There's 11 total panels. They'll be divided into 4 sections. Again, so the idea is that if it needs to be taken apart, it could be divided and sent to other locations in the future if it needs to be. And Katie also wants to note that they also are accepting donations and sponsorships for this that would be recognized as part of the television show as well. So if you're able to approve this today, this would be, she would get to work on it in earnest and hopefully have this for a reveal sometime during the week of the Hot Shots 10th anniversary. We do have some folks here as well. Katie herself, the artist, and then also John Marsh is here, and Sherry Heine with the Chamber, since it's going to go on their building, and then also Stefan with Morgan Sign is here as well in case there's any other questions. With that, I'll leave it to you for questions.
Questions or concerns? Councilmember Rusing.
Thank you. Do you have a rendering
We
of
do.
of the artwork?
Yeah, we weren't able to get it into your packet. I do have something that we could pass around for council to see and then we could share with public at a later time, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, because it wasn't in the the packet. That's previous work that she's done.
Yeah, we apologize, Council, again, because of the tight time frame and the approval, all the documents and paperwork that were needed to be submitted in this time frame, this was not able to make it into your packet. And we'll be happy to share this with the public as well as soon as Council has a chance to look at it. So with your approval, she'll be able to get to work on this, and we'll be able to have the opportunity to present this again, as I said, in a fashion for the community to see sometime during the week, the very busy week of the 10th anniversary memorial. So, Katie, I know I don't want to put you on the spot. I know the other artists were kind of sat in the background, but I love the way you kind of describe how you thought about this and kind of what your thought process is. Would you mind sharing that with all of us?
Sure. You want a description of
Kind
the
of
mural,
like your thought
basically?
behind it and sort of how you put it together.
Sure. So the few things were really important to me when I designed the mural. I had gone into the tribute center and had a lot of those people explain in detail things that went on with the tragedy, but before the tragedy, everything from the tools that the Hotshots used. I included the map of the Hot Shots Trail in there. Everything is delineated, in there on that sketch where you can see. I also have the flag that's hanging in the tribute center with the purple stripe, which represents the wildland firefighters, and something that was written by Eric Marsh that is the who we are. It describes pretty much all of the main details of who the Hotshots were. All the way down to what they did for work, family life, and just things that people, if they don't really know, they would be able to understand more of who they are and what they did. Let's see, what else did I put in there without seeing it? We've got a picture of the guys. Every portrait of each one of them, including Brendan, who is the survivor, is on there. I am going to put on there that something that shows that he is the surviving member. I have their logo, another flag with all of their names listed on it, and then also as I see it, I'm seeing some of the other things that are in there. We also have a picture of one of the flurries coming over, and I wanted to make sure that not one of the Hotshots stood out any more than any of the others. So there is a picture where you see some of them, but their backs are turned to the mountain. You can see them overlooking, a cloud of smoke and stuff like that. So you don't know who's who in that situation. I just want to make sure everyone got the same amount of reverence there. We have the buggies, their fire truck, the firehouse, and basically everything that represents who they were, what they did. It's meant to be educational as well. I added something in there about preventing fires, and that was something that was really important to the families as they, participated with the tribute center. So I wanted to make sure that we included that too, and have it be somewhat educational for people as well. One more thing, I did put a section that portrays the wall of gifts, which that's what I call it. People from Prescott and really all over the world brought gifts over and put them on the fences. And so I thought that was a good way to also kind of make the community a part of it, because they could see, that part that they contributed as well. So, anything else?
Thank you, Katie.
Any other questions or concerns, public comment?
No, Mayor.
Councilmember Rusing again.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. This is a very emotional topic for our community, and as you know, it's our 10th anniversary, and we're working on a tribute on the plaza, and I know it's a 10th anniversary, and it's a kind of like a deadline, but even the statue memorial on the plaza is not going to be ready, and I have some concerns about this because, especially, it seems to be happening pretty quick. I only saw the rendering for the first time last week, and I think that this is a very prominent location, visible to the plaza and to Montezuma. It's right in the heart of Prescott. It's on the side of a historical building, and I'm just concerned that it might kind of take off, be kind of more like a billboard, painted on a billboard. So I think we need some more information, and I would like to make a motion that we postpone this and send it back to the committee for more public input and take a little more time on this. So thank you. I know your heart's in the right place.
Councilman Tenney.
Mayor, I appreciate that. Council Member Rusing, with all due respect, I'm not sure that any of that is based on expert input that we've received from anybody. If this group feels like they're ready to go on it, just like the other groups, I'd say that we let them proceed with it. That's where I'm at. I think it's an excellent project, and this is not my area of expertise, so I'm not going to stick my fingers in their pie.
Councilman Moore.
I also want to voice my support to move forward right away. I think this is a wonderful tribute. It's very timely. The rendition that we've seen today is beautiful, well thought out. All the different elements that you've incorporated into the paintings are really touching, and it's a wonderful concept. And if for any reason something was inappropriate or out of place, it's removable. Everything that she showed today is on panels that can be removed. It could be fixed. So I think we move forward right away.
Mayor, do we have a motion on the floor?
We do.
We do not have
But we don't
a
have a second.
second, however. Is there anyone that wishes to make a second on that?
I didn't hear a motion.
Well, let me make.
Councilmember Rusin made a
Let me
motion.
repeat myself.
Oh, for
Mayor,
postpone.
I move to postpone city contract number 2023-187.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, I guess my thought on this, looking at the rendition, it's beautiful. It's very touching. Having lived in this community when that event happened, it was. When having lived in the community when that event happened here, I think for all of us that were here then, it's a very raw and emotional thing that happened that day. I think we all carry a piece of that with us. My understanding of the contract in front of us is that the expectation is that she's going to try and get it to us by this anniversary date. But I by no means would say that that's a drop dead. In my mind, that's a nice to have. It would be great, but I would say that just like all the other murals we've heard about today, that approach it with care and time, and the consideration that this artist is going to bring to bear on it. I think, like all the artists that we've heard from today, this individual has a body of work and has gone through the process thus far, and I'm also, I guess, I'm. Part of what gives me confidence in this is that the Chamber of Commerce CEO is in the room here with the artist right now in support of this project. And that's their building. And so in my mind, if she is in support of this idea, it's not really my place to knock it down. That's where I'm at.
Mayor, may I?
Yeah, Councilwoman can't tell me.
Am I allowed to say anything else here? We also have a family member here that, along with other family members, scrutinized what we put in the piece. I don't know if that, to me, that would be one of the most,
compelling.
I know, yeah, compelling, and also, making sure that they were good with everything that was on there. So I don't know if that helps, but he is here if you would like to hear from him, and if that helps with your decision.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, thank you, Mayor. I absolutely love what you've given there. And again, I think I said this earlier, I am a mother of a firefighter. that event hit me and my family very hard because that could happen any day. My biggest concern with what you given us today, and I didn't get to see all that either, is the scale. I'm also a designer, and I'm really worried about. I don't want this to be. I mean, Kathy used the word a billboard. I don't know how to say it. It's got to be done so tastefully. Not that drawing isn't. It's beautiful, but I would like to see a rendering of the placement and how you're going to actually address. That's a giant wall there, really big wall. Yeah. Right.
Sorry, you have to come up to the mic.
No, and don't get me wrong. I think it's beautiful what you did there. I would just like to have just a little bit more information about the color. Is it going to be really, really bright like that? That's just some things I wanted it to be very, very tasteful.
Yeah, I do like to work in lots of color, and I do want it to be able to be seen well. It is going to be very high.
Yeah.
The rendering is to scale, and the placement is exactly where it's going to be. So you kind of get an idea of how it is going to appear on the building. I have been doing murals for over 25 years, and I'm also a speed painter. I do work for charity events, and I have several people that work for me that help with my projects. So I don't know if that helps, but I am confident in the time frame, and I'm also confident in, if you, I don't know why, if you didn't get my website, you can go on and look at, past projects that I've done. That is a sketch, so it's not realistic. It's just an idea.
Can I just ask you one? I hate to interrupt you, but in the interest of time, what would happen theoretically if something went up and and I'm not going to say this is ever going to happen, but what if the community was not happy about a portion of it? How realistic would it be to be actually able to go in there and change something if it was objectionable to a lot of people?
I mean, the great thing about art is I don't think that it's ever done, so it can always be painted over if that was necessary.
Okay.
Of course, we would want to make sure that it's, as close as possible because it is going to take a lot of work for Morgan Sign. He's going to be doing the installation and getting it up there, so we definitely would want to make sure we're pretty close to that. So.
And what did you mean by he's going to be doing the installation and getting it up there? Is this going to be something that's applied?
Yeah, they're on panels just like the ones at Whiskey Row.
Right.
And we did that so that they would be removable in case that lot does get developed at one point where they're not anticipating that. But in case that happened, I actually designed every panel so that they could stand separately if they needed to and go in even a building like this if they needed to be hung on a wall.
Will you have that graffiti paint on the outside, the final?
That wasn't something we considered yet, but that could be done. Again, the panels are going to be hung so high that someone would have to get on a very high ladder or some kind of lift to do that. Not likely. Sherry is here from the Chamber of Commerce, and she said that would not be necessary.
Yeah.
If it is something that's requested, of course, we can try to make that happen.
Thank you.
I had a question. How color fast are these bright colors? I've seen a lot of murals and signs. Once they're exposed to the elements, they fade pretty quickly.
I use the same paints, Nova Color, as the gentleman over here to do my murals, and I do plan on sealing them as well. I usually seal my murals with an exterior sealer that would be similar to the same way you would seal any exterior building. So on average, you're going to, not have to repaint something for 10 to 15 years. And even at that, you're still going to have your color there. So you might see a little fade at that point, but I don't think it's going to be significant, to the point that you would be like, oh, no, that's, that I paint very heavy as well. So I have a lot of layers on my work.
Tyler, I have another question. The usage of that open lot and the approval to have performances there. I know in the last year or so we've had hip hop and rap concerts there with a lot of high volume profanity, and it would be such a disrespect to have it right next to this mural showing such respect for the 19. So it's my understanding that I think that contract is subject to expiration. Do you know when that's going to happen?
I don't off the top of my head. Joe, I don't want to put you on the spot. Are you aware of an end date for that?
Speak to that a little bit. You can? A little. Okay.
No, I'm not, Tyler. Are you talking, Mayor, are you talking about the lot that they have the food trucks on and whatnot?
Right.
Yeah, so that's owned by the Ponderosa Group.
Right.
So we have no agreement with them, so I'm not aware of any end date.
Well, I know the Planning and Zoning Commission discussed it pretty thoroughly, and I think they, as a group, were not only disgusted, I think they were disgusted by it. So I'm hoping that usage is going to be not approved. I think there was a special use permit or something granted to that.
There was, and Mayor, if I may, and I think, I don't want to get too far off topic. I'll say there was a temporary use permit. My understanding is it expires fairly soon.
It does. It was a one-year contract.
It was a one-year permit.
Yeah, it probably expires within a month or two.
Good, because I wouldn't want to see that type of performance right in front of this very respectful and commemorative mural. Councilman Tenney, I think you're up next.
Just to put my 2 cents in really quick, mural's absolutely beautiful. And a clarification question. You do this for a living, right?
I do.
Okay, so you probably don't need my advice on anything.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm open to whatever you have.
I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, then we got Councilman Shishka again.
Thank you, Mayor. Sherry, I hate to put you on the spot, but could you get up and say a few words about this?
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. So when we were approached by the 19 and the artist about having the mural in that beautiful location, our board was very supportive of it. And the artist has gone, she's worked with the family. She's worked with someone who has expertise in placing it on the building. We met with the historical group in order to make sure that it would not damage our building. And we know that if there was a change in that lot, that it would be able to be moved. And we thought that was a great idea as well, because we do not know the future of that lot. And I would agree, I would like to see it cleaned up as well. And it's also gone through the other commissions as well. So it's gone through the full city process and was approved by each one of those groups to be on this building and in that location. And so I would ask for your support to move that forward so that we can celebrate this.
I would say enough said.
Thank you.
Councilmember Roosing, you're up again.
Oh, I would just like to say that thank you for providing this additional information. Like I said, this kind of seems like it's moved ahead very quickly, but it sounds like everyone has been on board, and I'm glad that we're having a debate about it. But like I said, I feel that it's a very prominent location, and maybe we should have some more input from the general public, because they are very passionate about our plaza, the courthouse, just judging from the input on our Cortez Street project. So anyway, that's my comments. And like I said, no disrespect to the artist. I can see she's very talented, and her heart is in the right place. Thank you.
Councilman Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I know we need to conclude. Just one quick question. At the conclusion of this project, do the murals become property of the Chamber of Commerce? Who owns the murals in perpetuity? I guess that's a question I have because they are removable. They could potentially be moved somewhere other than there if that lot's developed. Who owns it? The city?
So,
the
yeah,
chamber?
so actually, the motion before you is to approve the contract, which will gift this to the city. And the attorney can go into a lot more detail than I can about it,
Okay.
but it will become property of the city. And it has been discussed that if and when that's developed, as the artist mentioned, this can actually be broken up into smaller pieces, and perhaps other city facilities at some time could be able to use them.
Thank you for the clarification. Again, I want to voice my support for this project.
All right, we have a motion and second on the floor to delay the approval of this project. So with the motion and second, do you want to restate your motion, or does everybody understand what it is?
So if we vote yes, we're voting to delay. If we vote no,
Right.
we're voting to move ahead.
Correct.
All right, please vote.
Wait, hold on. I need clarification on that.
If we vote yes, we're moving to postpone it.
That's what you second.
Fails 2-5.
All right, so that motion failed. So I'll entertain a second motion.
Mayor, I move to approve city contract number 2023-187.
Second.
Motion is second. Please vote.
Councilwoman Cantelme, I need you to vote, please.
I did.
Thank you. Passes 6-1.
All right, well,
Thank you.
congratulations with your project, and we hope you can get it completed and mounted in time for this very meaningful 10th anniversary. Okay, we move to item 12F.
Approval of city contract number 2023-182 for the purchase of one fire engine truck from Rosenbauer, Minnesota LLC using Sourcewell contract number 113021-RSD.
Mayor and Council, Ogre Fire Chief. Uncharacteristically, I do not have a PowerPoint for you this time around, but I am wearing a tie.
I noticed.
So this item, I think, is very important for us to highlight. A couple of things that I just want to make sure you have background on. Number one, it's a fleet replacement plan. It's a partnership with Fleet Services. This is the regular replacement of one of our fire engines, and it is in anticipation of a lead build time of anywhere from 18 to 24 months. And so we execute these contracts well ahead of time so that by the time the engine actually shows up is when we would replace that apparatus. The other piece of this, too, is that we're improving the frame that these trucks are built on. You notice that there's a term in your council memo calling for an EXT frame, and that's in essence a different manufacturing process that has a one-piece frame and hopefully will help us avoid cracks in the fire apparatus bodies that we are seeing over time, and that is from our topography. We have a lot of twisting in our fire apparatus as they travel the roads. The last thing I do want to also highlight here is this is a great opportunity for me to highlight once more the need for us to launch into low acuity call volume projects because of the wear and tear on our fire engines. If we keep those fire engines in the station a little bit more, some of that cracking and some of these, other maintenance issues do tend to get reduced. Now, with all that said, we still need 2 fire stations, as the strategic plan called for. Those fire stations will have fire engines the way that you would imagine today. But it also is a great start of that conversation of what is the value of the low acuity call volume diversion, and that is to extend the life of our fleet and reduce this fairly significant cost to the city. As you can see in your memo, this is an extreme inflation. Fire trucks are subject to the other inflationary pressures that a lot of the things in the manufacturing process are currently seeing, and we're hoping to get ahead of it by launching this contract now. So if you have any questions, I'm here to take those now.
Councilman Shishka.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't press my other button.
Chief, what's the delivery lead time on this vehicle?
18 to 24 months, sir.
18 to 24 months. Well, you got to have a crystal ball to figure out what you're going to be needing. Councilman Tenney?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate you getting ahead of this and the good information you always provide to us to help us make good decisions. And I'm glad there's nothing controversial here like a mural.
All right, do we have any public comment?
No, Mayor.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve city contract number 2023-182.
Second.
I think that's the wrong one.
187.
That's it's 187, Steve, not 182.
No, it is 182.
Is it 182?
He's correct.
Oh, well,
Right
Yep.
here.
look, we have the
You're correct, Councilman Sischka.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Every once in a while that happens.
Steve.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item 12G.
Approval of city contract numbers 2023-176 for the purchase of 6 2024 Peterbilt collection vehicles from Rush Truck Center using HGAC contract number HT06-20.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Janet Ramsey, Public Works Department, and joining me at the podium is Brady Higgs, the Solid Waste Superintendent.
Good to see you, Brady.
So we want to round out the evening and close it out, talk trash. Everybody's favorite topic. And we're also going to, Mayor, we're going to look into the crystal ball here just a little bit as well. For your consideration today, we propose the approval of 6 solid waste collection vehicles in the total amount of $2,494,920.36. I'm tired saying that. From the Houston-Galveston Area Council Cooperative Contract Procurement Process. So the trucks are actually for, one is for this fiscal year, and 5 are those crystal ball trucks that we're looking into for fiscal year 25, because we are also looking at those very, very long lead times. And as Brady can attest, we're very close on any given day to being able to continue providing the service. So we're looking down the road, trying to get these trucks here as quickly as possible so that they're here when we actually need them. Brady can talk just a little bit longer or a little bit more about how long we actually expect that to take. And how he plans to integrate those into his operations. But just to preface that, I want to say we all long for the days when we could just put out an RFP, a request for proposals, and vendors would come to us and offer to give it or to sell us goods and services. That just doesn't happen anymore. And so what we're doing is really proactively, if not aggressively, searching for these vehicles. And that's what this really is this is Brady's hard work with his team to locate these vehicles, find some that we can count on getting when we actually need them, and then putting them on your agenda tonight to ask your approval to get these loaded up. So Brady, if you want to talk just a little bit about how you're going to integrate these into the fleet.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Brady Higgs, Solid Waste Superintendent. Kind of like Janet said, we're requesting authorization to purchase and pre-purchase 6 collection vehicles, 5 of which are identified as FY24 capital expenditures that you guys recently saw in your rate and fee study that we presented back in January. These vehicles that we're replacing are the trucks that come to your house every single week and pick up the garbage and the recycle. We identified these vehicles to address a number of different constraints that the division has faced over the past few years. The first being our current route deficit. Almost half of our current collection routes take longer than 8 hours, our standard shift, to collect, and that's an issue. The other issue is vehicles when they go down for service, whether it's scheduled service or unscheduled service. This causes routes to either be delayed or other collection drivers to have to pick up the slack and head over to a different neighborhood and pick up, or stay late and miss things. Over the past year, the division has begun providing residential service on average to 41 new homes each month. So that equates to 82 cans out in the field for garbage and recycle. So those just continue to kind of add up, and we see it in the number of containers dumped each day. One other thing that I kind of want to touch on before I kind of go into talking about the phasing out is retention and turnover. I know it's kind of been on the forefront between Brandon's presentations. We've talked on it a little bit. And our division's probably faced as much, if not more, than anybody in the city. Some of it's related to just the schedule and just the standard job duties, riding in the truck all day. But other factors to consider are not approving paid time off requests because we don't have enough people to pick up the trash or pick up the recycle. We work 7 of the 10 major holidays throughout the year, so when the rest of the city's closed, we are still out there getting it picked up. That way we can be on schedule for the next week. We also provide assistance for special events throughout the year, so weekend stuff, parades, other items. And, simply some of the employees are just kind of getting burnt out, picking up the slack. And when we do have employee deficits, we all got to step up and get it picked up just like we did the week prior. We're proposed increased staffing levels and possibly a planned future reroute, and hopefully going to intend to correct some of these issues that we're faced with instead of keep facing them year after year. We're going to try and get ahead of them. This request to pre-order these vehicles, the current estimated lead time, not as bad as a fire truck, but we are expecting, if approved today, that these vehicles would take plus or minus 365 days. They're hopeful for the fourth quarter in FY24. So anywhere, April to June is what we're kind of hoping. And given the nationwide chassis availability, we've been trying to purchase one of these trucks out of these 6 for the last 9 months, and nobody has been able to provide us pricing for chassis, so we haven't been able to buy anything. So it's just kind of standard out there. It's kind of rough out there, but we need these vehicles. It's crucial to maintaining our current service levels and continuing to provide superior solid waste service throughout the city. Janet did talk about phasing stuff in. We are hopeful that with the additional personnel requests that are going to be proposed to you guys throughout the budget cycle, that we don't necessarily need the staff or most of the staff until the vehicles come in. So we know that that'll be in the fourth quarter. Obviously, recruitment's kind of tough. So obviously we need to start that a little bit early to get the people onboarded and trained once the trucks come in. But we are thinking of it and trying to be strategic with onboarding staff and stuff that's proposed for next fiscal year. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys got.
Councilman Tenney.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. Brady, excellent presentation. I appreciate it. Again, just like with the fire department, I appreciate you thinking ahead. We're going to need these in a year, so we need to start thinking about this now. We have a lot of heroes who work for our city. For sure, our firefighters, for sure, our policemen, people in the streets department. But I'll tell you what, solid waste is right at the top of my list of heroes. I love it. My wife and I get up every Tuesday morning, I guess, and we look out the window. And it's just a miracle that we create this trash. We don't create very much of it, to be clear, but we create this trash and we just put it in a plastic can down to the bottom of the street, and you guys come and pick it up for us every single week, and it just goes away. That's fantastic. And I mean, you alluded to some of the challenges you have. I just appreciate everything you do. And you'll absolutely have my full support for this. Also, talk to Holger, because your big trucks cost like less than half of his. So you got something going on there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Completely echo Clark's sentiment there. In fact, this will be like the second or third time I probably mentioned it from up here, but there was a gentleman in Ukraine when the war started over there, and he said, you did not know the beautiful sound of a trash truck coming to your house every day until it went away. So we're very blessed to have really dedicated people working in solid waste for us here. So I offer the same kudos. I had a question though. You alluded to the shift and the delay. Is my understanding you're bolstering your trucks in advance of hiring? Is that kind of what your proposal is there a little bit?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Montoya. As we went through the rate study, we talked about adding staff, and Brady talked about the challenges that we've had with the staff that we have. He hasn't been able to actually approve PTO time in advance, and we think that, we're sure that leads to the attrition and the high turnover rates that we're experiencing. So yes, as part of the rate study, we talked about adding staff. We're trying to to anticipate buying these trucks, putting them into the fleet, and then adding the staff at the appropriate
So you're adding more trucks to make it so it's a less onerous job for the staff that you have.
Yes, there's twofold. I mean, the staffing is part of it, as well as the fact
But they
that
have
the
to have a
trucks,
truck to get into.
That's right, and the trucks wear pretty quickly. These are big moving trucks that have lots of moving parts. They have lots of downtime, lots of maintenance time, and lots of big expensive repairs. So life cycling these is very important to the operation.
Makes perfect sense. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding it correctly. And again, you have my complete support with this.
Thank you, sir.
So Brady, are you trying to acquire chassis to replace failing chassis when you got the upper body is still operational?
So they are a package deal. So these ones will have Peterbilt chassis. There's reasons why we look at some of those. A lot of it does come down to service. We don't have the luxuries that people have 100 miles south as far as service technicians and availability, but it is a package deal, so they'll be with curb tender bodies. So it will be a chassis and a body, but the way they're sold is they're together. So if the bodies were available, but there was no chassis to be had over the last 9 months. And it's just kind of been staggering and building up.
Well, I know about 6 or 7 years ago, we were just trying to piece together bodies and chassis and knowing that eventually the whole thing was going to have to be replaced, and that's what we're in this cycle now, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did a couple rebodies like you're talking about where you take an older chassis and put a new body on top of it, and you just don't get the life expectancy out of it unless you're going to do a complete in-frame and replace suspension, motor, the whole 9 yards, and that price tag comes just as the same as a brand new one.
Yeah. Are you experiencing the same type of frame cracking that the fire chief was describing?
Not so much frame, but we do have a lot of other external components with, close to 1,500 stops a day, 1,000 plus arm lifts up and down. But we don't have nearly, but I think we fluctuate on the weight. Obviously, we have empty weights and we put 9 or 10 tons in the truck and then come back, that it's a short distance with that much weight. So I think that's some of the difference.
I noticed that the contract said FOB manufacturing plant. So you're going to have to pay a heavy amount of freight delivery charges unless you're driving them all the way from there to here.
Yeah, so the Peterbilts arrive, and we're paying it from the body manufacturing plant, which is in Iowa, and then they come down to a local dealer that's in Phoenix. They do their PDI on the vehicle, make sure all the cameras, the final kind of wrap the bow on it, if you will, before it gets delivered up here.
Yeah, I mean your freight delivery charges have got to be thousands and thousands of dollars. So is that factored into your budgeting request?
Yes. Yeah, that price will be delivered to Prescott.
I don't know. The contract says all sales are FOB designated plant of manufacturer.
Yeah, Mayor, I know I can definitely look into that. But I know that the previous orders that we've had, there was an amendment today in all the trucks that we have purchased from.
Well, if you can get them to do FOB destination, you're going to save a ton of money.
Okay. Definitely something we can look at for future purchases.
Yeah, we can definitely get the details for that.
So you have current funding for some of these, and then some of them are going to be included in your next fiscal year budget ask?
That's right, Mayor. There are FY23 and FY24 purchases. And Mr. Woodfill was here, but he was so disinterested, he left. But he did tell us there is available funding at this time.
And you guys aren't wearing ties.
We didn't wear a tie, but we did have a PowerPoint.
Oh,
yeah.
You had a slide with a tie on it?
Balances out. Yeah.
All right, very well. Did you have another question, Mayor Pradell?
Oh, no.
No. All right, do we have any other comments or concerns? Any public comment?
No, Mayor.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve city contract number 2023-176.
Second.
Motion is second, please vote.
Sarah, I'm a yes.
Oh, is yours not popping up?
Yeah, I screwed up and exited out.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Mine's not coming up.
Okay. Passes 7-0.
All right, well, that completes our agenda item. You know, I came across a quote from Ronald Reagan, which you know I think the world of, and it just seemed to be so appropriate for what we're dealing with throughout the country and the world. As the global threats to our security continue to build more ominously, it seems almost every day, we now have the formation of a new axis of evil with China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. So to think that this comment came from President Reagan 35 years ago. Common sense also told us that to preserve the peace, we'd have to become strong again after years of weakness and confusion. So we rebuilt our defenses, and this new year we toasted a new peacefulness around the globe. Boy, I hope we can learn from that sage advice and have our leaders consider that as we deal with these ongoing threats. So with that said, we'll take care of our business here in the city of Prescott and see if we can put our faith in God and our NATO allies, maintain a peaceful world. This meeting is adjourned.